He bowed that neck up, didn't he? So this is less than 1 week into a totally unbroke horse.
Welcome back to True to Horse Horsemanship. This is a little dun that you showed me with the bungee cords the other day. I would call this my first ride, but the little tidbit you saw at the beginning of this clip, Jeff the vet from Creekside, he was here this morning, who owns this horse. And while he was here, we did the first ride when Jeff was here, just a few minutes. So I wanted to stop so I can film it before we got too carried away there. So basically this will be pretty much his first ride, official ride. And a lot of those things, like Jeff's son was tickled because he came in here, I guess before this horse, you know, they won't have nothing to do with anybody. And now the horse is pretty much stuck to my side. And you know, the key thing with him was getting him soft to the bit before I rode him. So I'm just moving him out right now. I'm moving him out more for my sake than his. I'm getting my head where it should be. Kate, get out. When I first get on these horses, I never know what's going to happen, no matter how much prep work I do. So before I get on him, I'm going to check his lateral, side to side, how it gets to the bit that way. I'm going to check my to the right. I'm not going to. As soon as he softens up, I'll take that pressure off of him when he softens up and quits moving his feet. And you notice usually, except for that time, I'm going to check my vertical. Someone asked me, was vertical is how high his head up? No, vertical is not how high his head up. Vertical is when I touch his mouth. I expect if you look at his forehead, I want that forehead straight up and down. Now with him, I'm going to have to work a little bit. I have to be careful with him because I can already tell you, he's going to have a tendency to get behind the bit a little bit. So what I'll do is just pick up his nose a little bit. You see me do this with another horse. I'm going to ride him one side at a time. Let him move around a little bit. Engaging him. Because even though I'm not on this horse's back, I can still feel his back. I can feel the tenseness if there's any there. It's going to show up through my hands. For some odd reason, English riders, they got this misconception that you can't feel a horse's body through a Western saddle. Well, as I say with a lot of other stuff, that's BS. I can feel this horse through a Western saddle. I don't care how thick the saddle is. I can still feel the horse, what it's going to do. So I'm just going to grab his nose a little bit, let him settle, stand up. Got him on the bend. He stops, I back off of him. One step at a time. And you know, when you're doing this, it's important not to stick that whole foot in there. I just stick my toes in there. Stand up. Get prepared for anything. First, I'm just going to let him stand here. I might check his mouth. Let him know I'm here. Pick up a little bit. Encourage, move a tab. Check him again. One step at a time. And walk out a little bit bigger circle. I'm going to pick up my inside rein. Just let him walk out. First couple rides, I'm not worried about too much what we're getting done. I want him just get relaxed up me. Relax me up here. Because I want to try to keep my everything down to a minimum. Because the quieter I can train him, the better off I am. Because young girls can be riding this horse. So if he does crow hop or something, I want to try to keep that down to a minimum. So I'm just going to let him walk out. You know, we get too caught up in the first few rides on how much we want to get done. You know, because right now, I just, like I said earlier, I just want him to get relaxed. Ooh. As I say, one step at a time. Don't get worried, so caught up in the big picture. Sure, it's not as dramatic as seeing me make this horse do all kinds of things. Well, it doesn't do any good for me to make this horse do all kinds of things in the first few rides if the owner can't do them. So, you know, I gotta take perspective, who's going to ride this horse. So I want him to get quiet. I can always hype him up when his time comes. I'll flex him a little bit. I'll give him some outside leg In other words, my right leg there, I just put some leg on him. You notice he wants to trot, I'm keeping him at a walk. Quit riding, ask for a stop. I'll let him stand here. And that's what I say, you know, my key thing these first couple rides, take it quiet, slow. I want to try to train a quiet horse. And with him, it'd be real easy to get this boy way hyped up. At that time, I checked him a little bit with my left rein to get him into a walk. I didn't use both reins. I'm holding my hands nice and steady where I want his head. Pick up that shoulder a little bit. And every time I do this, I'm giving him a little bit of outside leg. In other words, if I'm going to the left, I'm going to give him a little bit of right leg here. If I want to go to the right, I'm going to give him a little bit of left leg. I want him working off my body, not my hands. Like I said, it's mundane, and that's why I think a lot of people don't like doing it, because they get too carried away because they get bored. Well, to get a nice, good foundation on a horse, you should take your time. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't come overnight. And like I said, I got to think of that young girl who's going to be riding this horse. And that's where I'm training this horse. I got to think of the horse and that young lady. So it's quiet. I'm training this horse at this stage, better off it's going to be. And then after a couple rides, you know, I'll start bumping it up. But that way, when I do bump it up, he's going to have everything. I mean, he'll be turning on his haunches and whatever I want to do. So I have control of his feet, and he's going to be more secure. You know, that's the key thing in all my videos. I preach this. One step at a time. Don't worry about that at the end product. Worry about each technique, each maneuver, and get that first. Then start at walk, then start at a trot, and then worry about a lope. I've had people, the horses only have 15 rides on them. Well, he's on the wrong lead when you're loping. It's like, well, he's only got 15 rides on it, so why in the hell are you worried about that? And I know when somebody says that, something like that, number one, tells me where they're truly at in their horsemanship. And also, I think that poor horse, when you go home, you're going to play hell, because you're going to get blamed for everything that they don't know. So that's just a little short tidbit. You know, everybody wants me to show starting colts, but hell, everything on here applies to colts. And like I said, I wanted to get my first ride on a horse. I've showed them before. Usually I end up showing a second ride, but this time this is the first ride on him, and this is what we do. We keep it down. We keep it low-keyed. We just, like I said, you got to think of that each step. I am thinking about the finished product, but also I'm thinking because I know what I want. Like I said a couple times, my finished product, I got to think about that little girl, get this horse capable safe for that little girl. And that's the key thing. So that's when I go back, push that thought to the side, and I think of each step and each maneuver at a time. And I made a joke with Jeff this morning. The little girl's going to have to learn how to set a stop, because this horse is going to have a lot of stop in him. Even though he's a forward moving horse, I can tell he's going to really get that honey under him when he has to stop. I already told that in that first few minutes I rode him this morning. So that's a little bit on this one. People's asked me about some of these rescue horses that's been on videos. Well, fortunately, most of the horses that's been on the videos, they've got homes. I got one leaving, Tuxedo. He'll be leaving next week, little paint horse. With him, it's pretty neat because he was one I showed a long time ago on the clicker stuff. And like I say, he's about ready to go home. He's ready to go home, but I told the owner until she can lope him in the arena, she's not taking him home. So it's up to her, because a lot of times, especially like Tux is a forward moving horse, and a lot of novice people or above novice people, they're on a horse like that, what they do, their mind goes blank and they'll grab a saddle horn and not control the horse. So that's where we're at with him. And that's all Kathy's got to do is control the darn horse, and she can take it home. And for instance, and I don't understand this, she was working the rail in the arena. Tuxedo went starting to trot, and she didn't want him to. But instead of stopping him and slowing him down right then, they trotted 50 foot before she did anything. And of course, I had something to say about it. People, when you're working your own horses and whatever, if they do something you don't like, if they move off too fast, don't wait till they build so much momentum that they're really going. Stop it then. That's like your kids. If they're doing something wrong, you tell them no once, then you end up telling them no a dozen times. No. When you say no, you mean no. And if your kids throw a fit, put them in the room. And I don't care if I had an instance, because there's not much difference training horses than kids. I was babysitting Trevor, my grandson, and he was throwing a fit. I put him in his room because I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to fart with him. And he's throwing more fit while he's in there. And I'd do him just like a horse. I'd hear him shut up for a minute, and I'd walk in, ask him if he's ready, say he's sorry, and come out. And he'd start throwing a tantrum again. I said, fine, I don't care. You tear all your stuff up and shut the door again. Well, within 20 minutes, Trevor walked out and said, Granddad, I'm sorry. Shelby, my granddaughter, she couldn't believe it, how that happened. But, the whole thing is, I talk loud and clear to him. This is the way I want. No exceptions, and that's it. Same way with a horse. This is what I want. I want you to walk, you're walking. If I want you to trot, you're going to trot. If I want you to lope, you're going to lope. I'm not going to sit here and henpeck a horse if I want to lope and go 200 feet before the horse lopes. I'm going to talk loud and clear, say, please, pretty please, and sugar. And I'm going to get that horse loping. If I want him to walk, he tries to pick up speed, I'm going to check him then, say, no, we're walking. And that's how you build a good foundational horse. You just don't let him go and do something and wonder why your horse is taking you through the trees or doing whatever you want to, because you never gave him direction. You think you are, but you're not. You're taking the easy way out and just going with the flow. And it's not that hard to correct. I mean, but you got to do it then. You keep letting it go and let it go. Next thing you know, you got a hyper horse. And then you're saying, shit, now what do I do? Now it's hard to control it. But if you do it at the start and put that foundation in, it's not that hard. Same way as kids. If you put it in there at the start, or even relationship, you get that good foundation started at the start, then it's all well and fine. So that's my preaching for today. We got another hot one here in southern South California. And with that weather forecast, I will say, well, heck, it's hot, sunny, and blue skies. But anyhow, so with that, be true to the horse, they'll be true to you. First and foremost, be true to yourself, and life is a lot better. And to my kids, grandkids, and special person out there, my family, God bless and take care.